Welcome back to Red Pill Examined, where I look at and debunk red pill talking points and expose red pill content creators as hypocrites, liars, and scammers. And for today's video, we'll be looking at one of the subjects that red pill content creators avoid and never talk about, which is the wall for men. Now, the wall, as it's called within the red pill community, is based on the ideal that as women get older and no longer look as attractive as they once did in their younger years, their ability to command attention from men decreases, which in turn puts them at a great disadvantage in the sexual marketplace. This, coupled with the fact that fertility rapidly declines for women in their 30s, also reduces their chances at securing a husband. And while there is no specific age at which women hit the quote-unquote wall, the consensus in the red pill community is that this process begins when a woman is between 25 to 30 years old. Now, this is one of the few red pill topics that I do agree with. However, I find it puzzling how so much emphasis can be made on women and their inevitable wall, but nothing is ever said about the men. Especially since the science tells us that men also hit the wall, both physically and biologically. Now, one of the ways in which men hit the wall biologically is that as they age, the quality of their sperm gradually declines, which in turn affects the likelihood of conception. This decline in sperm quality was confirmed by the World Health Organization, who found that starting around the age of 35, men may see their semen parameters worsen. This includes sperm mobility, sperm concentration levels, and sperm volume. In fact, one study, which included over 2,600 patients 31 years or older, also found that male age significantly affects sperm quality. Another study, which examined over 6,000 semen samples, found that the number of good swimming sperm in men between the ages of 30 to 35 were 54% higher than those in men over 55. And as stated earlier, it's this decline in sperm quality that comes with age, which affects the likelihood of conception. This is why the Centers for Disease Control state that couples in which the male partner is 40 years or older are more likely to report difficulty conceiving. One study, which examined over 2,000 pregnant women, found that men 45 years or older are 12.5 times more likely to take over 2 years to conceive than men 25 years or younger. One study of 782 couples found that among 35-year-old women, the proportion of couples failing to conceive within 12 cycles increases from 18% if the male partner is 35 years old to 28% if the male partner is 40. Furthermore, when talking about age, it's important to understand that older men are not only at risk for subfertility due to a decline in sperm quality, but they're also more likely to pass on genetic problems to their children. In fact, one study found that the percentage of offsprings predicted to have schizophrenia increased with advancing paternal age from 1 in 141 for offsprings of fathers younger than 25 to 1 in 99 to those with fathers aged 30 to 35 to 1 in 47 for those with fathers 50 years or older. Another study based on 132,000 Israelis concluded that the offsprings of men 40 years or older were 5.7 times more likely to have autism compared with offsprings of men younger than 30 years of age after controlling for year of birth, socioeconomic status, and maternal age. Then there's Dr. Gloria Buckman of Rutgers University, who conducted a study which reviewed 40 years of research on the effect of paternal age on fertility, pregnancy, and the health of children, and found that men 45 years or older can experience decreased fertility and put their partners at risk for increased pregnancy complications such as gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, and preterm birth. Infants born to older fathers were also found to be at higher risk of premature birth, late stillbirth, low APGAR scores, low birth weight, higher incidence of newborn seizures and birth defects such as congenital heart disease and cleft palate. As they matured, these children were found to have an increased likelihood of childhood cancers, psychiatric and cognitive disorders, and as stated earlier, autism. And please keep in mind that this study also found that older men struggled with fertility issues even if their partner was under 25 years of age. And so given all of this data, it's important to understand that as men age, they too hit a wall when it comes to conception that may in turn have negative effects on the potential newborn. Another quick point to mention when it comes to fertility is that some of the lifestyle choices that worsen overall sperm health and therefore decrease the likelihood of conception are oftentimes promoted by red pill content creators, like smoking, whether it be cigarettes or cigars, alcohol, whether it be hard liquor or beer, and steroids, also known as testosterone replacement therapy, which is the same substance as anabolic steroids, the only difference being that the dosage is a lot smaller. Nevertheless, these lifestyle choices are oftentimes promoted by the red pill community as quote-unquote alpha, but in reality are some of the unhealthiest activities any man can partake in. Now, another aspect of the wall is physical attraction. And while red pill content creators would have their subscribers believe that only women go through a decline in looks, the reality is that men also experience the same decline as they age, which decreases their pool of available women to choose from. However, what is interesting is how some men in red pill spaces deal with the physical wall. Like Rollo Tomassi, who has to dye his hair black to portray himself as much younger than he actually is. Or Donovan Sharpe, who has a video on his channel where he shows his subscribers how he dyes his own beard black in order to portray himself as much younger than he actually is. Even Myron Gaines of Fresh and Fit recently got a hair transplant to cover up his hair loss and bald spot as a result of aging. Meanwhile, MLD not only got his teeth done, but also got liposuction, a hair transplant, and added work on his face. And so contrary to popular belief, it's not just the women who as they get older take extreme measures to maintain their youthful look. Nevertheless, the purpose of this video was to simply show that men, just like women, also hit the wall, both physically and biologically. And the earlier that men can come to understand that, the better off they'll be, knowing that the decisions they choose to make today will have a direct impact on the aspirations and dreams they have for tomorrow.
This is an interesting question. He says, what about a man's evolutionary role to spread our genes? Can it hit us in our 50s analogous to the wall that hit women in their 30s? Interesting question. What do you think?
Interesting. I mean, I think for men, we're still able to procreate. Now, there's still some science coming out now that'll say, well, old jizz is contributing to, I believe, I can't remember if it was
autism or whatever.
Autism, one of these disorders now that are very prevalent. They're not looking at vaccines causing it. They're trying to say men are causing it. Older men dating younger women. They're trying to put it back on our boat. But the reality is there's men who are 70 that can still spread their seed.
That's right.
Women can't. They hit the biological wall. And for men, if you disregard the science, the new science related to old jizz causing dysfunction in children, if you disregard the science.
No, you need to deal with the data and then come back to me. That's what you need to do.